True Peace, can you hear me?
True Peace. Give me a second.
You're recording?
Yeah, we on record. True Peace.
All right. I need to talk to you off for this because I know you're recording this for a specific purpose.
Right. Yeah, I just getting internet back connected. It was off. I wasn't online.
We saw that.
Yeah, I'm just getting all my messages now.
All right.
Wanted to make sure I can at least get the holy day in.
Mm-hmm.
I would. Yeah, I was hoping that it get fixed before then, but they got it fixed on right on time. I'm just now plugging back in.
It's all right.
Just give me some time.
At least you're back in. We have a lot that went down. We were trying to call you to fill you in. But that's all right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
We can talk later. Focus on this right now.
yeah, I said let me open us up and we can get to that as soon as I close out. I ain't gonna keep us long, so get us in.
Is there a baby by you?
Somebody has a baby. I be doing my holy days outside, so somebody got their child out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put my feet in the grass and I do my holy day.
All right. I hear that. That's the way to go.
Yeah, cause well, let me open up because that's basically it's kind of the subject every week, but I touch on a different dynamic of it. But that's kind of what we're gonna go into. Hold on. I'm gonna open us up with the divine prayer. First, I want to give all honors to the divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Honorable Marcus Garvey, Honorable Deuce Ali, who was Noble Drew Ali's father, as well as Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger, and countless others like the master teacher, H.I.M and C.M Bay, and like I say, the countless upon countless leaders that have helped us get here and pave the way forward. So with that, y'all, I'm gonna go into this divine prayer. I'm sorry, divine supplication that we open up the floor with every week. And with that, we begin all things first by using the O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds. We do accept the duty you have lain on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-submitting fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us to control the strings of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show our divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us true followers of the news bearers, and in our name, we carry on. All right. So, to open us up with our daily affirmations, we like to let somebody call in.
That,
You about to say something? Sorry, I was
no, I'm saying
mute.
that's on my side. I'm not even sure where it is, but I'll mute.
Yeah, it was like one of them doo-doo-doo. I can't even repeat it right.
That's what it.
Sounded like a telephone
That's
ring.
it.
Oh, that was a telephone. Okay. Sounded like the ice cream man. Hold on, let me the ice cream truck. All right, so I'm gonna go into these 19 affirmations, the daily affirmations of loyalty, what we accept as fact as the children of the Elohim. We accept as fact the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept as fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept as fact our way of life as a means to the best end. We accept as fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept as fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept as fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians and the Anunnaki or Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need first of all a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, hells, your hellfires and brimstones, your horn and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on a throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty, and this war is fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation with all involved. We accept this fact that the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race's biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race in racism. We accept this fact that communication different between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. Sorry about that, y'all. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all as one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So before I open us up with the Circle 7, Holy Qur'an, our weekly readings, and the Divine Constitution, I'm going to pin this Patreon link up to the top. That way you guys could join us and the royal patrons, like I say, for less than a coffee, to proclaim your nationality and actually be a part of a temple body. There's a lot of Moors out here and people that's talking about nationality or their indigenous standing, but they're not, locked in with an actual temple. So here, you get to lock in with us. That way we can make sure that you guys are a part of a temple that you can call actual home. And we're gonna go over some things today. We're gonna go over some things that like I said earlier, it's the reason for us being here every week, making sure we put that contribution in that weekly deposit into this space. So I'm gonna share the room real quick. Y'all give me a seco. While I do this, and let everybody know it's holy day. Because what better way to do it but to do it? So hope everybody had a good week this week. We're gonna touch on a little bit of current events and things like that. Just a little bit, you know how we like to do it, not too much. But we will, touch on what's going on in the world this week. Kind of do every week, but not too much. We don't let that overtake the the premises of this space. So let me continue to share the room. All right, all right, all right. Give me a second. Let's do this. All right. I don't know if they're gonna count, or they don't count all the shares for some reason, but it looks like it's counting the shares when I share the room on here. All right, all right, all right. We're gonna have us a good holy day. Yeah, I guess they do stop you at three shares when it when you share the room out. Okay, I already put it down there. So we ready to go. Let me open us up with this divine constitution and bylaws, and then we're gonna go into our weekly readings. Just why we gather here every week, and we're gonna go over some things. Like I say, make those contributions into the space. But y'all know how this go. We're gonna open this up. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7. Love and love to peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, true peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, noble Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah, Islam. So we're gonna go into this prayer, y'all, and we're gonna open it up for the weekly readings. Y'all know how this go. Feet at a 45-degree angle, facing the east, 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, noble Ali. Amen. Islam. So we're gonna open it up with the weekly readings. And as we go through this, we're gonna touch on the divine messages as they come through. So this week has been a heavy week for me, the Grand Sheik, and just overall for humanity and the things that are taking place. So like I said, we want to touch on that this week, and kind of piggyback where we left off at with last week's holy day. Let me pull up this Quran. Every week we read chapter 25. So you guys want to be, real attentive to that. And, I'll explain why as we go, as we do every week. Kind of get a, different flavor mix every week. But, we want you to be in tune with the divine messages that are, coming through. And, as I say, we already have our covenant. We have our divine constitution and bylaws. And we have a covenant that, that needs to be, properly understood. A lot of people don't understand that we already have a decentralized autonomous organization or governmental body politic, which is global. And, a lot of people misunderstand that. And so, like I say all the time, you got people talk about their kingdoms, their empires, and their nations. But, there was a globally recognized structure, as the prophets say, go ask the European, in an intelligible tone that, is what he put in place, proper, and is what he's saying the proper thing. And, at this point, since 2020, and beyond, we should have a full, complete understanding of that. So I'm gonna read chapter 25, called "A Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation," and it reads: "Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care in the breast of one mother that had given you suck. Let the words of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortune of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other." So, we have to understand that our ancestors and forefathers and divine mothers have put a lot of work in for us to get here where we are today, and the growth that is coming upon us, and that we face the future days ahead of us. So next we're going to go into chapter 47 and 48. Chapter 47 is called "Egypt, the Capital Empire of the Dominion of Africa." And so, like I say, we have to really understand, the mission that was set, before us. And, there's a lot of things that, that get misconstrued, especially with, how things are done through the temple, and, how, we stand on this theocratical structure. This next chapter is going to go into some details for us that, like I said last week, every time you read something over and over and over again, you get something new out of it. And this is the beauty of repetition is the father and mother of learning, because it's not the fact that we just come here to repeat ourselves and do the same thing over. It's the strength, the momentum, the contribution. The fact that let me check the room real quick before I read this next chapter. The fact that we you know we're here weekly building up that momentum, and showing the faith, the loyalty that we have, just by being in participation here every week. And let me invite some more people here while we go into that. Just showing, that, regardless if it's just one person here, two people here, three people here, four people here, if we got a whole crowded, room like we do sometimes, that we're still going to be here doing the work. We're still going to take the time out to slow our life down, and pay attention, and get in tune with our ancestors, and come in the name, two, three, or more, and really do that divine work and that divine prayer, because that's what this is about. We live life on the go. We live life in beta mode, and it's just, business as usual, as most people would put it. And me being in the space of highly qualified individuals that really do that on a daily, linking up with masterminds on the daily, and really building that connection, getting to know one another, and really working out things versus just, people getting in their feelings, holding grudges because they don't like the way a person say this one thing, or they don't like the way a person got this one filter and repeats themselves and this, that, and the third. This is what teamwork make the dream work really look like. And when you in those spaces and you come back here, you really understand this holy covenant that we have, and really understand how to lock in on the covenant, the divine covenant, and really hum in. So I got, before I go to this next chapter, I got the link pinned to the top of the room. Y'all can click that link. Like I say, it's less than a coffee, way less than a coffee, to join the temple, to be a part of an official temple. But you have to understand, proclaiming your nationality is free. It is free to proclaim your nationality, and that's one thing that is not really spoken about here uh, on this app too much, or out there in the out there in the world. So I want y'all to be aware that there is a way to do this nationality thing. And I'm gonna pin this catalog page up here in a second. So hold on, give me a second. So that way y'all can really check out the actual procedure and process of how to become a Moorish American, Moorish African, and a Moorish Asian, and all Moorish world islanders. And like I said, we're gonna go into some in-depthness today, as we do every week. But I want y'all to check out, like I say, the process, the naturalization instructions. What naturalization is about, and we go into those details, and we're gonna really explain, macro nations, micro nations, and really break these things down, because we seem to lack the understanding that we are a macro nation of people. As I said and been saying, week in and week out, we are a theocratical governmental body politic that represents the whole entire world. I.e., with me being a global citizen, of course, or a world citizen, this is something that should be understood and well respected. So let me put this up there for us. And we still working on our website, y'all. We're gonna get it back up and running. But want to click that Patreon link before I switch it out and we go into this weekly reading. This is our Civics 101 class that I just pinned to the top of the room. You can click that, join us, and learn free Civics 101. Read through the About page, and we'll go through that a little bit later as we continue on. So, as it says in the Holy Qur'an, Circle 7, because we're about to get back to that, Chapter 47 is called Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. And it states, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Omexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the line of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and all the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren, who sovereign from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and habitation extended northeast and southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were in or of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery, due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. Islam. And that was chapter 47. So, like I say, every week is something new that really sticks out. So, this is why, like I said, repetition is the father and mother of learning, especially learning the divine truth. The prophet said he wanted us to learn the truth and the divine truth, right? So, it's best we understand that the prophet knew, even if a lot of his teachings was ingrained metaphysically, he swiftly put things together to where you had to come back around and look and look and look again, and understand that, like we read last week, the prophet put a pioneering body in place for us to stand on, for our supreme grand body, for us to have our own Washington D.C. without an actual without an actual White House. We had the Grand Major Temple, and this was located in Chicago, what we call affectionately the Mecca. So in this day and time, Moorish Americans are not supposed to do their Hajj to overseas. You do your Hajj by way of going to the Mecca in Chicago. And blessed be this particular temple, because we got a chance to have a grand sheik that actually had done his Hajj and still going to the yearly ceremony, and getting involved, because that's one of the important things about being locked in with this structure and the things that we're doing. So it's real important that we pay attention to the actual fundamentals of what the prophet is really bringing us, because like I said last week, we think that when we put Islam up here on the topic of the room, that this is just for Orthodox Islam. No, this is, living the way of peace through our faith and spirituality and cultures, which we had our own cultures that live based on love, true peace, freedom, and justice, which is a part of the tenets of peace. So we really want to understand, these dynamics and the balance that we had, even going all the way back, to these ancient times. So let me go ahead and keep reading. But, like I said, the prophet knew, swiftly what he was doing, by linking us back into the concept of the first temple called the Canaanite temple, and what the land of Canaan really and truly actually consists of. Um, you know, I ain't gonna go too much into it because that's for those that are adept or that are looking to be adept to seek out those divine wisdoms. But I will, tell the secret without telling the secret. As we so, greatly do, for those that understand the prophethood. So, like I say, for those that are seeking that, just look into more of what we're saying. But the prophet knew exactly what he was doing, and for those that already know what I'm saying, y'all already know what I'm talking about. But he so greatly ingrained the metaphysicals into just a practical orthodox method that a lot of people are gonna miss the message because of just the basics of fundamental readings. And if you don't go into the study seven times seven times seven over, then you'll miss it. But with that, we're gonna keep moving forward. And one more little thing, Spirit say, make sure you squeeze that in there. We have to understand that the prophet mentioned in chapter 47 about a Mexim being the true and divine name of Africa. So I want people to ponder on this, especially those that come back and listen to the replays. And as I say every week, you want to listen to everything in these replays because you're not just getting basic square base knowledge. You're getting information that is being channeled through by the ancestors. That's the point of these divine and holy meetings every Friday, every week. Some grand sheiks don't get a chance to host their holy day every week, but blessed that we do, and we're able to touch on graphically a lot of the information that's not being really spoken about, or somebody has to direct you toward a book to really explain the information. And without book read, we don't necessarily need it here in this space because unfortunately, unlike most temples, you guys have a grand sheik that actually done the theocratical work beforehand, before getting involved and stepping on stages and stepping out to speak in front of people. um we're actually called to speak and do these messages and do the great and divine work that's actually needed. So uh I want y'all to take notice to the prophet, and what he stated, that Africa true and divine name is a Mexican, a Mexim. And I mentioned the word last week, Afromortica, or America, instead of saying Americia, which is another European country, versus Afromortica in America, which goes back to us as Moors having emirs and not sultans before Orthodox Islam kind of came in and got involved with our true way of life under Islamicism. Like I said, linking us back to Brother Imhotep and our ancient Tamorayan teachings. Um, we got a lot to really disseminate and really, truly understand. So with that, I'm gonna lead off into this next chapter, chapter 48, called The End of Times and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. And it reads, the last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways, and to warn them, and to warn them, and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days, to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed, which is to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of men, under love, true peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed, for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earthland, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. Whew, Islam. So the prophet, like I say, ingrainedly knew what he was doing, and depthly knew what he was doing, and he was led by the divine spirit. Now, whether you want to call towards the monotheistic deity Allah, which just means the source. So, in a sense of, that particular source, which had, multiple and many names before the passing of the scepter, came along, and, like I say, Orthodox Muslims were starting to change the reference point of who was Allah, who was the divine creator, right? And understanding that we understand all nature united as the great ends, the masters, or in Hebrew it would be Elo or Elos, and for plural it was Elohim, which is why most people never really tackle the parts in the book of Genesis when it mentions to we would be like one of the gods, plural. So before there was this sense of monotheistic culture and religion, as we say, you can't take from the all, you can't add to the all, because where would you get it? The all is the all. So when we refer to the all, we're referring to the great Inu, or they would say the word Anu in those days and time. So the prophet knew that we were tied to all, and all the prophets. We honor all the divine prophets, all. So it's not something that the prophet didn't really know about. He understood that all of us were divinely connected. Even the fact that he said we're giving them back their culture for their earthly salvation and taking upon ours, which is supposed to be, for us. And this was done in the scriptures as well. It was mentioned. Uh, I'm not sure if it was the book of Jeremiah or another text, but it really mentioned that every culture had their own god and things like that that they interface with, and miss the source of creation that was actually channeling down for the the homage of respect and loyalty. And so when we started to, as a people, marry into, or amalgamate more so, into the European nations, just similar to what Brother Solomon did in the scripture, and marrying into other races and worshiping foreign gods that we knew nothing about, and incorporated that into our Teflims, which would be ancestral deities. And so, this has caused a lot of confusion, over the years and down through time. So, like I say, the prophet knew, directly what he was doing when it come to, us respecting ourselves. And like he said, worship under our own vine and fig tree, not under our own God and deity. He said under our own vine and fig tree. That's different. He didn't say worship under our own gods or our own God or source, because the prophet understood, like I said, we honor all divine prophets, whether they came from us or not. If they're coming in the name of the divine, which includes, like I said, the all in all, having nothing to do with, what more Orthodox Muslims call Allah today, has to do with the source, the true source of oneness. Because when they discuss the divine Father, they're making reference to the Father as an anthropomorphical being. When we're talking about the divine Father, we're talking about our heavenly divine masculine energy source, the Father, not an anthropomorphic being. Though we describe the Father through anthropomorphy, or I'm sorry, through anthropomorphological, descriptions and terms, the same way. This is kind of where, they get that understanding from, because they go so much into the breakdown in the Qur'an, El's Holy Qur'an, that Allah has no sons, no daughters, or not even a wife. When we understand the supreme beings and the beings that are of higher divinity and hierarchy, they are a part of that great all and all as well. So when we make reference to, like I said, the Heavenly Father, we're making reference to the source, the true source, not anthropomorphical beings, to where we, describe the actions of the source based on humanistic characteristics. Now, we may use it as a form of teaching, and like I say, this is where these concepts came from, throughout time, over time. But if you go even deeper further back, we use more than just, anthropomorphic descriptions of a human, but we also incorporated everything that was a part of nature to describe the source versus human characteristics, personalities, to where Allah, the Father, and how they understand the Father has a human personality. Now, we all are created, embodied beings of nature that have character and personality. And this is why we were, left with holy instructions from the prophet as we go into every week. Some of those we touched on last week uh, as well. We, went through all of them really. Well, I called them all out, but we, went to little details about some of them, not all of them. But this is why we have the holy instructions from the prophet about misery, about the insufficiency of knowledge, and weakness, and being inconsistent. This is something that's been passed down through our eons of time, and understanding that our lessons and knowledge and wisdom coming from the aisles and halls of men, or learning and knowledge, because we had big libraries, we had big museums and things like that, going way back to the so-called dominion of Egypt, or you can say Misrim, and things that were touched on from all different walks of life, even outside of this planet. uh Things that you can find on papyrus in those halls of learning or libraries, which Alexander the Great, we all know that story and what he did, going into this stolen legacy here, as we try to peel it back little bit by little bit. um the prophet clearly knew, like I said, that you know we're talking about the divine source, the divine creator, from all in all, versus what Orthodox Islam and Orthodox Muslims understand today. And even with the battle between different cultures here today that we have, and some of them are really not cultures, they're just new religious groups, is a better way to refer to them. But they misunderstand when we make reference towards Allah, the source, and or in the form of saying Elo, as in like Elohim, versus saying Allah, as in two deities that were worshipped, or as a part of the deities, the group of deities that were worshipped during that particular time of Muhammad in 610 AD. And the beings that were being called Allah and Alat and Menat and Uza. So we miss the true understanding, and those deities were actually Yoruba deities. If we actually get into it, but I ain't gonna go too deep down the rabbit hole because that's another topic for another day. But as I said, the prophet clearly knew that we were talking about the heavenly Father that goes in representation of being the incarnated embodiment of the source, just like Yeshua or Yeshua is described as being the divine word incarnate, or the incarnated divine word. Same thing. And so you have to understand that it's clear the prophet was really in tune with the messages of our ancient culture, faith, and spirituality versus orthodox religion today, which allows but little room for cultural and spiritual practices. And the fact that Allah is being, has been described as a human personality and characteristic, in a sense of Allah has no partners, Allah has no sons, but Allah has angels. And we understand those orthodox principles to mean, as we have in the Temple 101s, that Allah's angels is the thoughts of Allah. Going back to the fact that, like I said, the prophet understood that we, as the angels or angelic beings upon this planet, as well as the fallen beings, or you can say demonic beings, would be the thoughts of the All, Allah, all in all. So, especially when we get down to the thicket of the one-on-ones, and we start to talk about the seven eyes of the Elohim, and who are these Elohims? And for those that understand that Hebrew, the God of Israel, or the Elo of Israel, was called Elo, Elohi. So Elo and Ella are phonetically the same. So when we say Elohi or Ella, we're talking about the source, not a particular being that people go and worship, as the Orthodox Muslims would do, and tell you that our God is different than your God, or separate from your God. And that, and in that case, that might be and may be facts, and it is the facts for them. I'm not gonna say truth, because truth don't belong to nobody. So that is the facts for them. And in that sense, you have to understand that, like I say, Allah being phonetically the same as Allah, I'm sorry, Elo being the same as Allah. Now, like I say, we're speaking about the source in that sense versus how Orthodox Muslims would describe it. And this is, to show that there's a clear distinction between Muslims, or, the Orthodox Muslim, and the Moorish peacemaker. And I use that term very distinctively because even in the scriptures, the book of Revelations, which is, one of the actually only true scriptures of the Bible and its so-called New Testament, we are those peacemakers. So we're not Muslim in a sense of as one of peace. We are those who are peacemakers in the sense of we are peace. We are the peaceful energy. We are the tranquil energy. We are the thought embodied of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So when you get into those, grammar things, those things of grammar, it really changes the thought process. and the understanding, gives great distinction between the two, the of and the is. And this is why I say they may have got these descriptionary teachings or style of teaching from us passed down through time, which, like I say, we describe the source as, in human characteristics, but also animal, but also the principles, elements, all of these different things that make up the all of nature, not just as in a human characteristic. And being that, like I say, we are the true peacemakers. The Muslim today would never, um, you know, truly understand the process of the Moorish American, which doesn't have to claim any religion other than Islamicism, which is peace, because our culture is a peaceful culture. We are a peaceful people. We are civilization builders. Our culture was love, true peace, freedom, and justice. So even during the ages of, Moorish conquest, when we ruled Spain, and Spain was, the American melting pot at the time, all Muslims or Moorish Muslims wasn't necessarily Muslim. Now they may have carried the teachings, the heritage, and the link to the true, what they call the true Muslim, or for us the Muslim, which is cantonized under English for the word Muslim. And for us, it's just deeper than, like I said, the orthodox understanding of one of peace. Because for us, it goes even further back. We are one who is peace. Our city and cities across the world called Salem. Mu meaning one, and or light, as in Lumeria, Sumeria, or the continent Mu, or even the deity Mu. For us, it goes way deeper than, the concept of, like I said, just being of peace. For us, this was a way of life, an embodiment, a city called Salam, the city of peace. And we were the citizens of that city that was ran and led by who they call Melchizedek, who was, you know, the inhabitants of what they call Sidon at the time, in Sidonia. That's also another location that's on Mars. And so we don't get the reference points for our history and historical reference, and how this goes way back and is way deeper than the cultural religion that we call Islam, and those who are adherents to Islam call Muslims. For us, like I said, this was an embodiment. This was a civic pride for us. This was a place that we lived. This was a way that we lived. And clearly the prophet clearly understood this. And like I said, even giving reference to the fact that Canaan was a holy land, which, like I said, those that are adept, you can go seek further into that. But there's a, great distinction between, us just being regular Muslim, and though it's not nothing wrong with Orthodox Islam, but we, to give clear distinction, are still tied into the bloodline of Israel, the bloodline of Shem, which the Moabites are descendants of, and the Moabites being the descendant genealogy which gave you the prophet Jesus. Because without Ruth, then Boaz, and the continuation of the genes to the Nazarite, then you would never understand why Moab is the key. Even though in the scriptures it says that bloodline was destroyed or was no longer here, you would miss the blessing that came out of that bloodline. And there's a great misunderstanding that comes down through time. As I said, those that are of the Ishmaelite branch, which you had a lot of Ishmaelites go disagreeable, which is a part of that Moab breakdown throughout time. But you will have those Ishmaelites who will be those in every lifetime who hears the voice of God, who hears the messages of the Most High, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the all in all, and will be able to deliver that message to the people, which is what the prophet came pioneering and doing. So I want this to be clear, because we find a lot of excuses not to meet each other on the square. And the more, the Most High puts me in those spaces and places to pick those things up, I'm going to gather the information and show you how we are connected and how we are one as a people. No matter what color in the garden you are as a Moor. Because once we understand that we are the majority, the game changes. We are a global family. And you'll start to learn that there's a lot of more branches of the vine, especially now with, a lot of other cultures tying into our vine, and, us not understanding that we had a capital before it being in Mecca today. It was in Mexico, southern Mexico, or Southern America, which was greatly extended from what we did in Spain. But even before the situation in Spain and the Moorish conquest, we had the Egypt capital, or the Misraimite capital. And that capital went all the way back to what we call America, North America, Canada, all the way back to Europe. So it's a lot of things we're going to have to intake, especially if we look and read where the prophet says this divine name is a Mexim. So that included Mauritania, that included Morocco, Tripoli, etc. Because if Melchizedek was over Sidon, what they call Sidonia, then that includes the fact that those that are all the way over there in Tripoli, from us all the way over here, Amexem was a big, vast nation, or what they call Kush in Ethiopia was a big and vast nation. The prophet works was not even done. He was pioneering. He was the first to hand it off. So that means we talked about the Father, but we have not talked about the Divine Mother, which the Master Teacher has came and gave a lot of that reference point to. And there's going to be a connection between the Seraphim, the Cherubim, and as we continue to go forward, those angels of the throne, which is what we are in for today in this day and time, because there's the God of Israel, which came later on, and then you have the God of Shem, which came before. So before Abraham, we are, because they get confused when they talk about the bloodline, and neither one of our bloodlines were tainted, and nobody, according to the original light, and not the light that came later on, which has been tampered with. It reveals the fact that none of us, left or died or anything like that in the last great flood that we had on this planet. And a lot of confusion is puffed up between the different Orthodox cultures about these little knick-knack things. True peace, Brother John. So we got to understand that those bloodlines, the Hamite, the Shemite, and Japhethite bloodlines, are still here functioning today through the bloodlines that continue on through our ancient culture. So there's no, misunderstanding with, well, that bloodline isn't still in operation to this day, or that bloodline is gone. Well, have you double back and double check the extension or the continuation of the bloodline? Because that's the same case with Moab and the Moabites and the Moabitess roof. Though we understand directly those of Moab in that time don't exist today anymore, we are that extended Nazarene bloodline that is still here to this day. So same thing when you talk about Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And with us in America having the plasticity and the elasticity to expand our mind, the neurodivergency, to really understand the in-depthness of these things, we have to understand that we are the embodiment of that elder brotherhood of the family. Those that continue on into becoming those Ishmaelites that will hear God. But are we listening? Because many are called, few are chosen. Peace, peace, brother. Okay, I got you. Peace, peace. Many are called and few are chosen to really now get the divine message. And like I say, we're here to meet all our Moorish brothers and sisters of the whole entire garden on the circle. As the prophet said, we honor all divine prophets, come link yourself with the family of nations. We're not to worship under the vine and fig tree of another nation. Some nations have their own understandings, which could be misunderstandings. As the eldest tribe, we should know better, we should do better. Going all the way back to the great Umma, who people know as that mitochondrial DNA that links everybody on the planet. We can't say no, ain't none of that. Well, it's already been tried, tested, and proven that there's one mother that links us all. And we are a part of that Ummah, that mother tribe, that mother family, that mother genealogy, that mother Zara bloodline. So whether you want to call yourself a new empire, or a new nation, or a new whatever, is not disconnected from the divine mother of the last sun cycle and the forefathers and mothers of them before we even got to this planet. Or before, let's say this, before this planet was even grown into existence. Because all things are subject to the law of growth, the laws of the divine, the laws of the universe, and the laws of the spirit. Now, a lot of people might, nah, you off, brother, you off. Well, prove me wrong, don't believe me. Like the master teacher say, y'all, go check it out. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and go into some of this Moorish literature. Y'all will give some feedback on anything that I just mentioned. And we're gonna, well, first I'm gonna go over these civic 101s for the courses. So y'all can understand how to get involved with the temple. Click that link, read the about page. It's our catalog page for the school. You can enroll for free. You know, especially as a guest member of the temple. But we want you to come in, have a temple home. The Patreon link, I'm gonna put it back up there in a second once we get into some of this literature, and discuss some of these current events as well before we close out. Yeah, but the floor is open, y'all. If y'all want to chime in, I'm going to the link, and I'm about to go over the holy instructions for joining us in the temple. If anybody's saying something, I can't hear y'all. Yeah, so, all right. Civic virtue is what we kind of discuss every week here, which is the cultivation of habits that is important for the success of the community, which, according to the laws of nation, you know, that's what makes up a nation. You got community, language, flag, a way of life, a creed, and, you know, some other things. And we go over that on the about. It breaks down civic engagement and how we ought to engage with one another, which is the process people take to, you know, for collective action to address issues of public concern, and it's instrumental to our democracies, and republics. And here you're going to learn more about the nucracy structure that we have as a people. And I want to go over the holy instructions. The Holy Qur'an of Mecca, in the El's Holy Qur'an, it reads, Friday is the holy day, O ye who know, when the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God and celebrate the praises of God of 10 and without stint, that ye may prosper. So that's what it mentions in El's Holy Quran. So the course to join us and to proclaim your nationality, that's what this course breaks down. and why, it's important for you to be here every week, Friday and Sundays. It says all chaplaincy meetings and temple service are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is our holy day for all Muslims all over the world. According to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the noble prophet Drew Ali, who states, in conjunctions with the above cited law, stating all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for the Friday holy day meeting. On Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The meetings and temple service are open according to love, true peace, freedom, according to divine love, true peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicants. All civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple. The Sunday school meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish nationals and temple denizens must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple one-on-ones questionnaires, and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation and now the entire global village. It continues on saying, according to Act 5 of the additional bylaws, the noble prophet Drew Ali stated every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school meetings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by the director of the Children's Sunday School and Programs. The Sunday school meeting is designed to assist the members in learning the temple one-on-one questionnaires and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish prayer and the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and the civic lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subject of major concern for the student who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school classes must be prepared by the Grand Sheik as the divine minister or the assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us novites additions may be submitted to the students for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy, teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No templars is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend their Sunday's temple service and meetings as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meetings. Both were called out for by the noble prophet Drew Ali, and is required as a matter of law, according to the Divine Constitution, Act 7, and Part. All templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also the Moorish Science Temple of Africa and the Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and enjoining world islands on behalf of all indigenous peoples. It says, for membership, all heads of temples of any temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate, public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk is free, not only here but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must read the message from the temple secretary and download the application for naturalization found here on our temple website. The Secretary of the Temple's jurisdiction has helped all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit application for membership of the Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust to the new prospective civilians of the Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the Royal Council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the Royal Council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the Royal Council's consultation at the newcomers gathering, the new templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming Holy Day meeting. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with Chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7, Holy Qur'aan, Egypt, the capital dominion empire of Africa. The Moorish Prayer, Chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'aan, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, the 101 Qur'an questions for Moorish American Asians and Africans, the Divine Constitution and bylaws, and the additional laws from the El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, the Holy Tablet, the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets through our Civics 101 course in the Global Interdependent School District and the Sacred Halls of Learning, called New University, for everyone of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these lessons verbatim, he or she will be interviewed by the Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian, Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the Royal Council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and the Divine Minister of said subordinate temple. So I'm gonna read from the Holy Shahada, which is breaking down how to proclaim your nationality and what this proclaiming of your nationality is really about. A lot of these people, like I say, they got their empires, their nations, and things like that. That's new, but don't really have no proper structure for you, and you're not gonna hear them go over that, unless you get involved with one of the original Moorish Science Temples of America, or you heard it here first. What the actual Shahada is really about. So the Holy Shahada, it goes, the proclamation of nationality, procedure, and pronunciation of one's nationality will be held on Holy Day for all templates, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian or template will be ordained an El, Bey, or Day, and given his or her royal peerage title of kin, honorable, lady, noble, nin, naya, prince, or princess by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from our Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple. Upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian, templates, and temple prospect stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of this document that can be found in Heard's revised statutes that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and or the Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state Allah's God, and Noble Ali, the Prophet, and I am Moorish American, African, or Asian, or World Islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith, or Shahada, and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or template's free national name should then be added to the temple's book of life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course and World Civics Club. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed on the back bearing the name and title of the divine minister who issued the card and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act has deemed the Global Interdependent School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928, August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global nucleus. So, yeah, you really want to understand the power behind. Oh, I ain't know we had people in the room. My bad. Let me go ahead and pull y'all up. Yeah, so True Peace Noble was reading over the Civics 101 catalog that we got here. But now we're gonna dive into some of this Moorish literature. We went into give a little quick recap. We went into the weekly readings out of the Circle 7 Holy Quran, chapter 25, 47, and 48. And I gave me a little light sermon today. And now we finished going over, like I said, this Civics 101 that we got pinned to the top, which is our free course on civics. And pretty much what I just read was the catalog page, which talked about doing our holy shahada or baptismal ceremony for bringing in people so they could proclaim their nationality and do things the proper way. Because like I said, we got a lot of people that really truly misunderstand the statehood and the theocratical structure that the prophet put in place, as well as it being put into statute of law. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like I've been mentioning this whole time. I don't know how long y'all been in the room, but for those who heard me, you hear me mention numerous of times about the fact that we got people who starting empires, nations, and things of that nature, but all of them are still tied to the Great Ummah. And so with us, having actual, Grand Sheik that's went through these theoretical or theological studies and actually has, certification in it, we can go into these breakdowns. So, yeah, next I want to move into current events, like I say, so we can talk about what's going on out here in these highways and byways, and what's been on the mind of the people, especially with the things that's taking place in our society. True Peace, Doctor. All's well. You can hear me, Idris? True Peace. All right, you gonna chime in when you're ready. Uh, but yeah, we want to go over some of the current events that's happening and taking place, uh, especially with the things that's going on in California, what just recently happened in Florida, the hurricane, uh, and slightly touch on some of the politics that's taken about, that's going about throughout, like I say, throughout our society, and how to be prepared for, from us being here and been putting our people, you know, uh, putting our people on game, as they call it, ahead of time. And that's why I say there's a power behind gathering here every week or gathering in a divine space every week. It's not just to come in and listen to us repetitiously read something. As we know, repetition is the father and divine mother of learning. And so it's bigger than just us reading the same literature every week. This is for us to build that divine momentum and divine connection and connect with source. And you're doing it, in its proper way to do it. So it's not just us, reading over information that you think you may know of already. As I mentioned earlier, every time we read it, we learn something new, or there's something new that stick out. And this week's point, as I touched on, how many really truly understand that even Africa itself is called a Mexum. One of the things that has been sticking out to me in this week's study, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, for those who caught the sermon and the lesson, how many really understand that this right here, this ground that we walk on, Afro-Morica, is actually, connected to Africa still, which a lot of our people try to, disconnect themselves from. So, true peace, brother. Idris, you there? I don't know if you ready yet. If you can chime in, but yeah, I want to touch on any of the, anything that's going on. Y'all can leave some questions in the chat if y'all got them, or just address some of the things that's going on with these current events. We got the water issues and things like that. Like I said, the issues that happening in Florida. Usually, I would be boots on the ground and really helping out, but this year I'm trying to make sure uh, I get us in alignment as far as what we have going on a bigger scale with our global economy, and making sure we get our administration correct. Because as I mentioned last week, we have a lot of discord with us understanding the uniformity and the difference, the different grand bodies that are here, and really understand that we have to come together as one, versus all these different supreme grand bodies. We are just a branch temple. This is, branch temple number 24. So with that, I'm gonna do a quick room reset. I'm sorry. Welcome everybody to the World Temple. This is branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Today is our Friday, holy day, and we have this every week on Clubhouse, where we come together in a sacred space and on divine timing to gather up, more than one, two, three or more gathered in the divine name to do the divine works of this divine and national movement. And at this point, it's a divine and global movement. So, with that, I welcome y'all. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but y'all are here with me and the Grand Sheik and my adepts. I appreciate y'all and honor y'all for being here with me. Let me go ahead and mod you up, brother. But y'all can click that link that's at the top. Join us in the Civics 101 course, or you could click that green, not green, but that gray, that gray, that gray, uh, the gray room at the top called World Temple, and you can join us. We'll be here every week during Holy Day. Usually we do Sunday as well, but my schedule getting a little more tighter than it usually is, so I'm just open up to do Fridays. But we still trying to get back to doing Monday through Thursday our interfaith tribunals, which we have every week as well. We're supposed to have every week, and getting our website back intact. But with that, like I say, we got the situation that's going on in Florida, and all throughout the United States. A lot of things is revealing itself as the prophet said it will, and we coming into a time and space to where a lot of the things that the prophet mentioned in the prophecies and the oral sayings of the prophet is coming to pass. And we want to really take heed to these things, because with elections coming up in the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, not three, but two and 2.5 years, something like that. I think we got less than 2 years left now. Yeah, we got a year and a half. I mean, not 2.5. We got a year and a half left before this actual election come up, and so we need to be prepared as a people towards at least moving toward more unification, more uniformity, as a people, as a grand major temple, with all the different major temples that are around. Like I say, we have this situation where we got multiple supreme grand bodies, and no one uniform body. Like I hear going into a lot of these different rooms on Clubhouse where they make different rooms about the Moors as if we separate from being African or melanated peoples, and it really makes no sense. But at the same time, the points that are being made are being taken heed to, because we have no uniformity, then it looks silly. We got I heard one brother mention in one room I was in, well, this person is this, the great title of this, and then this person over here, he calling himself the great title of that, and who do we go to? Who is who and who is what? So that confusion is great. And we got many different branches, as I call them, as we're supposed to call them, branch temples of the divine and national movement, or different parts of this movement. To have a movement, you got to have a body, you got to have arm, some type of head, or whatever, whatever way you want to describe it. If you want to describe it as a car or some type of vessel or vehicle, either way it go, you're still going to have the front part, the back part, the locomotives, which actually keeps things moving, or whatever threshold part that keeps us in locomotion. So let's go into this literature as we close out with a little bit. If y'all don't want to talk too much about the current events, we're gonna move into some of the literature, and we can get ready to close this out. I don't know if you with us, Idris. You can chime in whenever you're ready, Doc. But yeah, we know we got elections coming up, and like I said, we have the situations that happen in Florida, but we have to understand what's actually taking place on a global front, especially with the currency and the things that's coming about with that. So as I mentioned earlier, you got a lot of different uh things that are causing us confusion as a people, and a lot of our people are caught up in these sovereign citizen things. And so for the past 3 weeks, I really went deep dived in on giving our people the 2+2=4. I think 2 weeks ago we read the actual treaty of friendship, and we went actual in depth into that, and just gave fundamental breakdowns on the theocratical structure that we do have as a people. We know that the president is doing things in regards of um, digital currencies and things like that, which we've pretty much been ahead on the regulation, especially with us being a part of those bodies of people in this particular temple, branch temple, with actually issuing a lot of the private international regulation that has actually come about, because a lot of them are following in our footsteps with what we have been doing since 2014. So, uh, you know, we have a lot of things that are coming in our favor, but like I say, with all of the different grand bodies and things like that, we want to get ourselves in some type of uniformity and organization. We have to recognize that the platinum plan by greetings, noble greetings. The platinum plan that was set in place by brother Trump. That plan is being executed whether we realize it or not, and we have to understand that a lot of these people are not prepared, regardless if we have a democratic structure. A lot of the things that he put in place is being followed through. So we want to be on the lookout for a lot of these things, and we got to have this town hall and this discussion weekly, every week. It don't matter what branch temple you come from. This is a global branch for us to communicate on. A lot of our brothers and sisters, they on the internet anyway, regardless. Unless they just deep dived in, focus with they temple and they buildings, or with their families. But this space is for those that are actually active on the internet and active doing the work for us on these commerce highways and byways, which is actually done through the internet. Regardless of whether we doing it in person, you still get on the internet for your databases, your data keeping, print records, etc. So the things that's been put in place through this platinum plan, we as a body of people, I don't care what branch of the Moorish national movement you come from, you should be looking to work in collaboration, and being one of the brothers that actually do get involved and mingle and hobnob with the so-called rich and wealthy. They not arguing, regardless of what conspiracy theory that we could bring about or talk about, and actually be on the right side of that conspiracy. Or at this point, there's no conspiracies because it's all been proven. But whatever one we bring up, you know, that shouldn't get in the way of the work that needs to be done. And we still got to get back to the 2 + 2 = 4, the fundamentals, because like I said, a lot of our people have, dived deep into a lot of these sovereign citizen concepts and processes, and they're not standing on the fundamentals no longer. And so this is to help bring us back down to earth, bring us back down to the proper understanding, especially if y'all go back and catch those last 2 or 3 holy days where, I just kind of went and opened it up. Because like I said, we got people that have empires, they got different nations, etc. But nothing that they're doing trumps what the original Moorish Science Temple of America has put into place for everybody on a global scale, especially as a true decentralized autonomous body politic and in the form of a theocratic government. This is already put into statute of law, and it should already be well known and well respected. But like I say, a lot of our people get a lot of far off into the sovereign citizen movement and patriotism movement, which is nothing wrong with us being patriots. There's nothing wrong with us having civic pride. That's why we have the civics 101 course at the top, so we as a people could get down to the academia, the fundamentals, in a an actual scholastical way, and really understand what it means to have civic pride. It's not to say we don't have to have, these different branch temples in different parts of the movement. There's different branches that deal more so better with the IDs, more so deal better with license plates. Some of them deal better with working the courts. It doesn't really matter, long as we start to come together and really, create a real uniformity, a real body, supreme grand body, because the supreme grand bodies banging and different multiple grand bodies, and is no one way to look at, okay, well, what does this like I say, what does this person of this great title do, and how is he connected? We lost that connection. We lost the uniformity. It's not to say that we don't have a centralized structure, because it's one temple, one prophet. But like I say, a lot of our people get caught up into these sovereign citizen things, and so then you lose touch with what's the fundamentals. We don't mix no metaphysics or any of these different principles and things like that. I'm an actual person that's actually involved through the United Nations structure, and also being in the private side of things and doing things on a private. If y'all was in here when I just got through reading the the actual Civics 101 about page of our catalog, you'll see that we have our own public beneficiary trust. A lot of these people teach you, well, to be, free and sovereign, all you need is to set up a living trust and a trust and things like that. But that doesn't negate the fact that by law, that this person, especially in this country or body politic that you're talking about, setting up a trust and living sovereign and free, that still, no matter how much money or whatever their financial status is, it does not equate what their political status is. It don't. It does not change it. And the fact that we running over, that we already have a public beneficiary trust that extends globally, that's already been recognized globally, and we don't have to have it registered into some system or this, that, and the third for it to give us power. We already have that power by way of us coming together in 2 or 3 or more gathered in the name. So understanding that there's a lot of things that are already fundamentally in place. And if you was here earlier, you heard me mention that we are a part of the mother tribe, Islam. True
On the
peace.
body.
True peace.
True peace. Question: what does the established public beneficiary trust that you mentioned, what does that do for me as a member body of the as a member of the body politics that we are speaking
What does the trust do for you?
of? Right, as a member of the body politics that the trust is regarding, what does that do for me as a member in relation to that trust? Or does it
Well,
have an effect?
yeah, well, first thing is it's a trust. So what does a trust do for every individual naturally?
So a big thing the trust does for every individual naturally is protect their assets, their acclamation of wealth and, you know, their person, you know what I mean, or their legacy. Shit, that's what it is. It needs to be.
Right. So that's the number one form of protection that you have automatically as a citizen. And if we understand what I just mentioned about us still being looked at as refugees in a political status, then what does that mean? Are your rights protected if you're politically not recognized as a part of a body, or are they protected? So we know you're unprotected if they're looking at you as an African American, right?
Right, definitely under their classifications. Right.
Right. And
I
we
would be
understand
subjecting myself to that rule.
and we understand that your political status has nothing to do with your financial status, right?
Well, I don't know about that. You say my political status has nothing to do with my financial status.
Right. It
What?
don't matter how much money you make in this country or this corporation, they're still gonna look at you as Negro, black, or
Oh,
colored.
okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. We see that in the what they call the entertainment realm.
Right. So the basic point is how, like you asked, how does this trust benefit me? Well, first, it's your first line of protection, right?
Right. Being that I would be considered a member of the body politic and the trust thereof established in the favor of the people of the body politic, then, you know, I'm protected under the measures of that trust being a member, and it's inclusive of me.
So let's dive into it.
Right.
So if the prophet said that the greatest constitution is the United States Constitution, and we are the constitutors of that constitution for the constitutees, then that means we are the creditors, right? In that particular manner, if you want to look at how most people look at it financially, right? Or in a form of commerce.
Okay, well, yeah, right. In that sense, because then well, then to me, it sounds like you're bringing the two together of the politics and the, you know, and the economics or the financial. It's kind of like you're bringing them back together, unless I'm misperceiving it.
No, yeah, right. That's what commerce is.
Okay,
Business and finance is commerce, right?
right.
So if if that's the case, then if if that's the case, then you have uh
Hold on.
if that's the case, then uh you got the situation where, like I say, you know, we being the constitutors and not realizing that we are a part of that issuance of this constitution. And if the prophet called it the greatest constitution ever created, then when we proclaim our nationality, where does that put us on the constitution? Because if Article 1 talks about, you know, people of nobility and titles of nobility and ambassadors and consuls and things of that nature, will we not fall under Article 1 as the ambassadors, the constitutors, and those that are involved in giving that constitution out or being the issuance of that constitution? So in this country, you have something called first responders, right? And those first responders are the people that show up when natural disasters and things like that happen to protect the people. When you get in trouble, the policy keepers, as people call them, right? They show up to protect not you, the people, but the corporation. Because we're gonna dive deep into it. We're gonna go into it. So if you are the CEO of the corporation and the beneficiary of the corporation, you are the ultimate beneficiary owner, then when you start to exercise your rights versus someone who's not, you now are entitled to those benefits that are not given to somebody who's not so-called quote unquote classified as a citizen, correct? Or as a national. You follow me?
So So now, right quick, just for me to answer that question, if I'm following you, if I'm getting it. So then, and now this, when you say you, that's me, and I'll be the illustration. That's me being and speaking from the standpoint because you say you are. Da, da, da. So that's me as the Moorish national of nobility, as you mentioned regarding the Constitution and being the constitutee and the creditor of such. That's me as the Moorish national of nobility that it's regarding. As me identifying with that aspect of my heritage and then claiming it and owning up to that matter and being in alignment with such.
Correct. So we would
Because
become. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I'm saying okay, because if you don't have, if you're not under that acceptance, then in those regards, those measures would not apply to you. You know what I mean? And we can, loosely say it and be like, well, you melanin, right? All right, well, then you born, nigga, it applies to you. But if motherfucker ain't identifying that, then hey, respectfully so, that's not you. Right? Because we talking about this Constitution and who it speaks of regarding the people and those, meaning those of us as the original beings of nobility in the lands of Turtle Island, right? In conjunction with those who came here and, forcibly established corporation.
Right. So let's turn it up a little bit, especially with the level of knowledge, man. Right?
Let's
So
go.
let's kick it up for the people that's listening. So if we understand that, like the prophets say, we are the true Americans, right? And we're not subject under the subject of those 13 colonies. We are the kings and queens that gave authority to those 13 colonies and those 13 states. So then are we not kind of repeating history in the sense of that you have canon, right? And that's kind of what we just broke down. I was breaking down earlier about why the prophet called the first temple the Canaanite temple, right? And if we talk about it, we know Canaan had a Nubian or a dark-skinned son, right?
Yeah.
Called Hamathite. And then you
Yeah.
had those that are actual Hamites who are the Misramites, right? So let's talk about it. So that means those that are under their subjugation and don't know that they are of the Ummah, right? And they place themselves in the form of a Goyi, which is Goyim,
Right.
right? And we know what
Right.
Goyim is, right? So,
Right.
we understand that who we are by way of how our actions, our minds, and those things, play out in the 3D world. So we understand that we are not the grafted so-called Negroid, black, or colored, right? We are the actual nobility of this planet, the indigenous. So, with that being put into the statutes of law, we understand that being making reference to the being that we making reference to the Constitution, and we are those constitutors. We are the ones who actually initiated George Washington into the order, right? Then that would make us who fall on the square, you know, the bloodline of nobility versus our brothers and sisters who are the grafted, uh, grafted descendants of this Canaanite that has people in its subjugation under white supremacy through the white populist uh political status, because we have to remember, and we mentioned it in here before, that white populists is who actually replaced the black Republicans that were actual what they call free man on the land, or the actual Moorish Americans that was here propagating the ancient cultures of a republican form of government. You follow what I'm saying now?
Okay.
Like the master teacher put it, there go the American Negro over there. That's my brother, but that's the grafted Negro. That's the person that you're looking for. Not, not us. We we are those. uh those people who own this corporation, who are the beneficiary owners of this corporation. We are the people who are to be protected first and uh respected first, but you have to have a body politic to come, or agency or instrumentality to say, hey, well, hey, put me on that list. I'm on that list. Put me on that list. I'm on that list. I'm in the book of life, right? Put me on that list, right? You have to have a body that says that. So, as royal patrons, where do we go to get on the record to say, well, hey, I'm not falling under y'all 13th Amendment. I'm falling under y'all First Amendment. Follow me? I fall under that First Amendment. Where do you go? And chill out, because you got the noise. Where do we go? If we understand herd statutes, which is another statute beside the other statute that I'm talking about, that recognizes us as being uh that noble people, and us having that theocratical government, we have a actual statute of her statute that falls in alignment with the affirmation of the covenant, the holy covenant, and the divine constitution. That's an extension of the constitution. The US Constitution, as you know, as the prophet mentioned, is the greatest constitution. So if we understand what was put in place during that time, and for what we mentioned earlier, Chicago is the Mecca, and we understand that that law and that state law surpasses what's been put into place. So you have to have a place to go and say, well, hey, well, I'm under that First Amendment. I'm a part of that consul of nobility or ambassadorship, or priest, priestly people that fall under Article 1, that's in alignment with the great day of the Bible, as they call Public Law 27190. So if we understand that, the temple are those spaces that, those vital statistic places that you go to, and the people that get into the beneficiary trust, they become beneficiaries, and the people that are trustees of that public beneficiary trust, that's coming in and saying, well, hey, I am adept. Well, hey, I'm a minister. Well, hey, I'm a sheik. Hey, I'm a mufti. Hey, I'm such and such. And you got your obligations that you're going to fulfill. You become a part of the first, the people that, of the first respondees, that the first responders, who should actually be us, and taking care of our people, are the benefit of. So that's what's protecting, or what benefits provide you, especially when it comes to finances and economics. Because if we go back to this last 2008 crash, there was actually Moors that was helping the country with that stimulus package that, actually that went on with Obama and the Big Brother program. And, a lot of the stuff that, for those who remember, Karen Hudis, she aired it out as a whistleblower, and put it all on public news. But this is, a great touching point, because we have to understand that if we take things back to the fundamentals of what the prophet put in place, then we can get closer toward this uniformity that's needed. We only a branch temple here, so as a branch temple, it's only so much that we could do. We're not a grand body. We're not the grand major temple. We understand who we are and our footing in the matter, but that doesn't mean we can't be a temple that's being one of the voices crying out in the wilderness, and actually doing the great work that needs to be done as a global branch of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So it doesn't matter which temple branch you're coming from. We understand that, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of rogue Moorish Americans that either get their stuff off of RV Bay and all these different things, but there's no actual temple number, no temple branch that they call home, or can actually speak up for them as their royal court. So the structure of us understanding who we are as the royal nobility, and like I mentioned earlier, being the true constitutors. And if you even take it back to dealing with the queen and all of that over there, they're standing on your black nobility. it is what it is. Whether they want to look at that as something evil or whatever, that's them under their jurisdiction and definition of words and how they define words. That doesn't have to be the final end, and it truly isn't the final definition of how we define things, especially when we're talking from our language. Now, when you're talking from a non we can't even say it's really a non-indigenous, but a non-indigenous dialect of our language, because English still technically belongs to us too, but that's another topic for another day. But if we don't get into the fact that the way that they define things is what puts you under their jurisdiction, and they look at black as something evil according to Queen Elizabeth and John D, then of course you're gonna follow a narrative that they already have plotted out and planned for you. But if you're going according to the indigenous spirit, the indigenous definition, then you're going to be treading a new walk, a different path than what most others are used to, or like I say, subject to. So for us, like I said, they get their authority, especially going back to King George and King Henry and all of that. That's still coming through the quasi jurisdiction of power from us. That's still coming from the jurisdictional power of us as a body politic, a global body politic, as I keep mentioning. And I'm gonna keep mentioning it until we blue in the face. But that does not change the fact that you are the actual jurisdiction that they're getting their quasi authority from. And for some, quasi just mean fake. In other terms, quasi means an extension. In other definitions, so it ain't just all a fake entity, because there's a lot of quasi extended authorities that are out there that we don't understand it in that way. But you want to go ahead and like I say, understand that, or look into it if you have to. Don't believe me, check it out. But you want to go ahead and understand that even when they got their so-called authority coming, or these different things coming from the king and queens over there, their extension of king and queenship extends from the British, or the Blackamoor Britons that was over there. So even the authority and the changing and the switching of the law and how they done it, no matter what other minute things that they have changed, their way to the throne and their way to the power of the throne is still coming through your jurisdiction, all the way up back to the Vatican. So anything that they have done, it still has been in the benefit. Even if it's been a bad benefit, it's still, it's still been in the benefit of us as a Moorish American people, or Moorish people globally. And we got to understand how to take those benefits and use them back in our favor. And take the good, throw away the bad, take the meat, throw away the bones. And there's easy ways to do that, especially if we come together in uniformity as a supreme body. But we got to be able to see these points of reference versus continuing on rhetoric. It's good to have the rhetoric. Of course, we tell you you're not Negro, black, or color. But if we go into the science and we go deeper into the knowledge, we're going to have to reveal the true light information for people to really get on the same page. And tonight, that's what I went into a lot of detail about. I went into a lot of detail about setting the record straight, uh, and just saying things that if the master teacher was here, I'm pretty sure that he would say, especially when it comes to how he wrote about the tribe of Moab from the basic standpoint when he started out 30 years ago, and then what he concluded and setting the record straight in the latter years, and letting it be known that we are the true Native American Moors, or indigenous Moors, or however you want to look at it, from whatever walk of life you're coming from. But understanding that certain things were in place, and if you do not look at things 3 times or 7 times over, you're gonna miss some things. You might have that layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3, but if you don't go get the rest of the layers, you could leave some things out that'll cause division, confusion, and things like that. Especially like some of the messages that he left in the final days of the conspiracy that took place. But We understand we got to have the right knowledge, the right wisdom, and the right understanding, but we definitely want to come in with things with a graceful and anointed spirit and heart and mindset. So with that, y'all, I'm gonna go into some of this literature. Unless somebody else got some more questions, real quick, we can chime in. But I want to go into this literature, do this prayer, and close us out so we can take it home. Because we've been here since 6 o'clock, and we do this every Friday. So yeah, be back here next Friday, 6 o'clock sharp. Y'all can be here from the jump and really get some of the the information that we dive into. We really channeling. So like I say every week, if you go back and listen to the previous weeks of the holy days, this is a divine week. I mean, a divine day for us to tap into our ancestors and really utilize the cipher of energy that's being opened up, the portal of energy that's being opened up every Friday, and for us to tap into it, come in the name, 2 or 3 or more gathered in the name, do the divine works, as I mentioned from the catalog up there earlier. Uh, this is where you come in and do your holy shahada and do uh, your holy baptism, whatever you want to call it, and tap into that energy. Especially for those that understand the esoteric sciences, this is something that you want to take heed to, because a lot of our people don't. So, and don't really understand the benefit, and a lot of the grand sheiks don't talk about it. So, in this particular temple, like I say, y'all blessed to have somebody that's been through those degrees, been up the actual ladder, and can still explain it to you in a 2 + 2 = 4 kind of way, and not kind of get too deep off into you know tooting my own horn or parakeeting from the top, and really keep it fundamental for everybody in the room and in the space, so that way they understand it in a practical means, layman terms that even a baby should kind of get. And I know my English ain't all too the best, ain't nobody English super perfect, but we try to keep the communication as practical as possible, that way everybody understand on a basic level on how this stuff actually works, how it's played out, not get too deep into metaphysics and mixing stuff, and make sure we understand the basic structure of a theocratical governmental body politic, and we got to come together. All of I got my own empire, and I got my own nation, and I got we wasting our time. And every time you kicking off something new, it's something new. The prophet left us precedents, so then we could incorporate the laws and customs of our own branch temple, as we have done here and other branch temples have done as well. That way you can extend all the way back to what it is that you're trying to extend to, as we have done here, taking us off the planet, you know, and nothing new under the sun, on and above the planet, with our laws and customs, with what we, understand for us to be a global, interstellar, intergalactic, all those, good old tin hat, foil hat, terms of a people that we are. So I just pinned the link I'm about to pin the link back to the Patreon. Y'all can join us for less than a coffee. As we just read in the Civics 101, nationality is free. You do not pay for nationality. You do not pay to do a shahada. But to actually be a part of a body temple, there is things that you have to do. And with that, you can actually have a home to claim as your own. And we're not like all these other people charging you out, your arm, leg, ass, and a head. It's actually way less than a cup of coffee to join us if you need a temple home, especially for those that are rogue Moors. Like I said, if you're not, you know, if you're not embodied with a family or a temple home, you got one here. You can join us every Friday, every Sunday, and like I said, Monday through Thursday, as we trying to get these schedules back on point, and take up some responsibility, take up some obligation. Do you got the ability to respond? As I mentioned last week, we are in the sun cycle. So, our nucratic structure that's globally, and they're waiting on us as a people. We have fulfilled prophetical things that's documented, that we can show that's documented, and respected all over the world, especially with the recognitions that I have as a global ambassador and as a global minister, and just the work that my people have done through our ministry. And this particular branch temple is grown. We actually have over 200 members, and we're going up to 300, and eventually this particular branch temple will have thousands of members, whether they guest members or official members and adept members. Have over a count of 200 or 300, and technically we still got more than that if you count the fact that I am a world director of the World Leaders Forum, and a lot of people have been appointed authority by way of me, or one of my branches here in the United States. I am the commissioner for the World Leaders Forum of America, the United States. So that, along with other things, and positions that I'm associated with, especially the orders that are inaugurated through us and by us and from us, and the powers that we have to learn to take a different perspective on these things that are created, that people have created thousands and one conspiracy theories about, that are no longer conspiracy theories. We have to really air it out that a lot of our organizations have been hijacked and have been utilized by counterintuitive organizations and counterintelligent organizations, and intel or intelligent organizations and agencies that are utilizing our structures and keeping our people from seeing the true light of these entities. And we're not taking up our beneficiary portion of it and coming in and doing what we're supposed to do, and start edifying the temple, edifying the church, edifying the village, edifying our communities, edifying our families, edifying our business organizations, y'all. So with that, I got the temple. I got the Patreon linked in. If y'all want to join, y'all need an actual temple home, temple body that y'all can tie into. You got that. I'm about to read this literature real quick from the prophet, and then we're gonna close out with the prayer. Thank y'all for coming through, and one love. Y'all know how this go. The prophets say this is a warning to be read in every temple meeting, every temple service. He said, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, true peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card, button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace, Noble Drew Ali. All right, y'all, and I'm gonna read this last divine warning from the prophet. We're gonna go into the prayer. We're gonna close it out before my phone dies. With that, I love y'all, man, and yeah, come back, bring your butts back here next week so we can go deeper in. Like I say, this is a space for tapping into that divine reservoir, that mental reservoir, and we channel every week. We bring the divine synchronicity that you feel, that love, that open space that you feel here with us. So the prophet say this is to be proclaimed in every temple meeting and temple service. Islam. The prophet say, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all. I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement, now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me in the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world would not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. With that, y'all, we're going to go ahead and do this prayer. Y'all click that Patreon link, join us. This is Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I'm going to close us out with the prayer, y'all. One love. Y'all know how this go. Feet at a 45-degree angle, facing the east, 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. True peace, y'all. One love. Come back next week, 6 o'clock sharp. We'll be here. Why do everybody? Love y'all.